Do you ever go down rabbit holes on the internet? Okay, I know that's a dumb question, right? It's a rhetorical question. We all do. If you're ever on Pinterest, if you're ever on Instagram, if you're ever really anywhere, even on Google, you can go down a rabbit hole. Well, I did that the other day, and I want to tell you what I found. I opened up Google because I was curious. I wanted to know what the success rate was for utilizing home decorating quizzes. You know, the kind that help you identify your style. And I chuckled to myself at what I found. I'm going to read a little bit here for you so you can know what it is I found and why I'm not buying it. Here's what I found. According to Decorately, which I don't know what that is, they had 500,000 users and they claimed that 97% accuracy on home decorating quizzes. Okay, they seem to think that those are more advanced quizzes. And again, I don't know what Decorately is. But then we go to average quizzes. Again, whatever those are. General online quizzes are often reported to have an accuracy rate of about 70%. So people who are taking those, 7 out of 10 people think, yeah, I get it. That's my style. Well, here's another one that really caused me to just say, I'm done with this rabbit hole search. This was the user satisfaction synopsis. And it says, in general, users report that results are, quote, spot on, or, quote, pretty darn close, or a good, quote, jumping off point. Can we just talk about the pretty darn close or the jumping off point when it comes to your home design? Because what is really missing, we don't want pretty darn close. We want you to be able to understand what a quiz is telling you and what it means. That is what we want. When you are taking a quiz for a home design style, you're on Pinterest and you find it, you get lured in and you see pretty pictures. You see A or B, you choose B. Great, B is really pretty. Then you go to the next one. You choose A or B, you choose A. Great. You keep doing this for about 10 pictures and it gives you a synopsis of what it thinks your design style is based on the picture you were able to identify. What it does not do is tell you what those mean, what the design elements are that make up that overarching generalized design style. It misses the depth. It might have a general idea, a pretty darn close idea, or a good jumping off point idea for you, like, oh, you like calm spaces. Okay. Oh, you like energized spaces. Okay, but what does that mean? What does calm mean and energized mean when it comes time to go to Target and pick out the pillow? What does calm mean or energized mean when it comes time to go to Home Goods and select the throw blankets, the frames, the candles, all of the artwork? What does that mean? Friend, if you are wondering what in the heck that all means, I want to invite you to my workshop. It is a free training where I pour into you for 2 days and talk all about understanding your design style. And spoiler alert, I am not giving you a quiz. Instead, I'm giving you the key to the quiz. I'm giving you the literal how to understand your design style. But that's not just the only thing that is missing when it comes time to not just starting a room, but then completing it and finishing it successfully. I'm giving you 2 other steps, and these are filters that we use in order to make strong decisions, confident decisions. These are the things that we use in order to help you understand what is a good choice in real life between choice A and choice B. You like both artworks are great, but one of them really matches your design aesthetic better than the other, and you can identify why. So friend, if you want to come over and grab your seat, reserve your spot in the room, I would love to have you join me at this workshop, 3 Steps to Creating a Home You Can't Stop Gushing About. You can do that by going to my website, figandfarmathome.com, and clicking on the button at the very tippy top of the page to register, or you can go to bit.ly/spring 2026 workshop. Either way will take you there, and I can't wait to hang out with you real time, teach you 3 really important first steps to creating a space that you actually enjoy being in. And if you can't make it live, I don't want you to worry. I will send you a replay. You can always catch the replay. And friend, if you are at all worried, because listen, I've been to plenty of workshops where the goal is, I'm going to sell a product at the end. I'm just going to sell the entire time. Those of you who've attended my workshops can attest, I teach the entire time. This is a training. I want to make sure that you walk away with a lot of value for your space, a lot of clarity for your home, and a lot of actionable things that you can apply literally that day. So come on over again. You can register for my free workshop by going to figandfarmathome.com and just clicking the link at the top of the page. I will be honored to teach you inside of that workshop next week, March 11th and 12th. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. I want to address the elephant in the room today. The elephant, clearly and simply stated, is the belief that you just think that you are not cut out to decorate your home, that somehow something is missing. It's the limiting belief that makes you feel stuck and play small. And I've heard all kinds of things. I'm going to read to you a few of the ones that I've heard over the years from people who come into our Facebook group, people I've worked with online, people who I've sat next to in the stands at a basketball game, people who I've chatted with at the grocery store. You name it, I've heard it. And my list is really long, but I'm going to just read you a few. And these are repeated. These are things that I've heard multiple times, not just one time. The fear of how it will look, so you stay stuck. I feel completely lost. I have no style. I'm just not good at decorating. I don't want to spend a lot of money just to test it out. There are way too many choices. I don't know where to start. I don't seem to have the ability to put things together. Did any of that sound like you? All right, here's what I want you to know. Friend, you are not bad at decorating. You're not bad at it. You just haven't been taught yet. I want you to think, if you are a mom, or if you're a teacher, or if really anyone who would be interacting with a small child. Let's just put decorating aside for a minute. And if a teeny tiny came up to you and said, teacher or mom or grandma or what have you, and they said, I want to be able to learn how to read, but I'm bad at it. Would you acknowledge them and say, yeah, you are. Sucks to be you, and walk away? No, you wouldn't do that. No one would do that. Or if it wasn't reading, if it was, I'm bad at tying my shoe, I'm bad at coloring, I'm bad at, you name it, we've heard it. If you're a mom, if you're a teacher, if you're a grandma, you have heard it. You've heard it. When I was a teacher, I heard all the time, I'm bad at coloring, I'm bad at playing whatever the game was on the playground. I'm bad at doing math. I'm bad at. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Okay, first of all, I tell my kids this all the time. And even, when I coach basketball, I tell my players this. If you think that you're bad at something, guess what? Yep, you're right. You're going to prove that point to the 10th degree. You are going to be bad at it. But if you believe that there's room for you to improve, grow, learn, guess what? You're going to do that. I want to tell you something before I tell you why I can prove all of those things incorrect. You are not bad at decorating. We're going to get to there. But I want to tell you something that is profound, and I need you to hear this. We all know that if money were no issue, you could hire the fanciest designer and you could have them do it for you. They will make all the decisions. They'll get input from you to get a base of what it is you like, what it is you don't, and then they're going to make all kinds of decisions for you, leaving you maybe a little bit in the dark and then coming out with a beautiful product that you probably will love. We know that is option A. But those of you who I'm talking to likely don't have the bank account to afford option A. I know I don't. I wish I could. I would hire a fancy pants designer and they would tell me all the ways I am making poor choices. I don't know. But here's the thing. Design is teachable, friend. It is teachable. Teaching you how to put things together, how to make confident decisions, how to grow in your decision making, how to wade through the sea of choices, that is my specialty. So that we can shop at places like Target, where there's a $20 price tag. It doesn't mean that the approach is, let's buy $20 items over and over and over again so that we can then test it out and see which one lands and is the best one. No. There's still a process to the decision making so that you can spend your $20 wisely. But friend, design is teachable. We're not here for design degrees. That's not the goal. We're not here so that you can then become a designer and have your own podcast and your own show. If you want to, great. You can learn as much as you want from me. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to come home, unlock your door at the end of the long day, and to think, I actually like being in this space, rather than my space looks like crap. My home looks uninviting. My home looks like, my home looks like I haven't touched it in 15 years and the kids are grown and gone, and now I'm just looking at the walls again. I'm not so busy anymore taking my kids to soccer, to lacrosse, to basketball, to wherever you're going, and now I have time to be in my space and I actually want to enjoy it. That is the goal, friend. And design is teachable. Do you know how I know that? Well, because I've taught hundreds of people, first of all, but I know that because I learned it myself. And I had that aha moment of, oh my gosh, this one change made a world of difference. That second change made a world of difference. And you know what, friend? I have spent the money. I have waded through so many decisions and maybe doing them even out of order and realized what the process is like. And I've tested and I've trialed all of that for you so that when it's time to do it yourself, you don't have to make the trial and error. You don't have to make all the mistakes. It's right there for you. Okay, so the first thing I want you to think about is that design is teachable. It truly, truly is. Now, if you're not learning it from me, that's fine. You don't have to hang around here. You can go somewhere else. You can learn it on YouTube. I mean, have you heard the term YouTube University? It's that for a reason. If there's a skill I want to learn, guess where I'm going to go? I'm going to go to YouTube. I needed to learn how, I don't even remember what it was, something with my car. I needed to learn how to turn off the check engine, not the check engine light, but like the maintenance light. It was time for me an oil change and I needed to learn how to turn it off. And I couldn't figure it out and my manual wasn't telling me. And guess where I went? I went to YouTube. You can learn a ton of things on YouTube. There are likely people who are going to be teaching you things on YouTube that will teach you your design style. Great. That will teach you how to make confident decisions. Great. The point is to find someone, a resource you know, a resource you like, a resource you trust, and someone who feels a little bit relatable. That is the goal. Find them. If it's me, I feel honored. I would be honored to be that for you. But recognize that design is teachable. It does not mean that you have to spend hours and hours and hours and months in order to learn it. You're just open. You're available. You're going to take those nuggets of wisdom and you're going to be able to now think about how you can apply it to your home. Now, if you don't believe that design is teachable, then the rest of what I have to say is not going to apply to you. That literally is the first thing, to understand that you can do it. You are equipped. Just like you would tell that teeny tiny who's standing in front of you, I can't draw, or I can't color, or I can't do math. You would not tell them you can't do it. You're right. You can't do it. No, you would never say that. You can do it. Let me show you how. Friend, I am that one. Let me show you how. Okay, here are 4 other ways that I want to tell you that yes, it is possible, and yes, it is manageable. The first thing is literally this. you will continue to make design decisions that are frustrating, that are confusing, that are a test. You know, that one person who said, I don't feel like I have the money to test out products. You will continue to test those products. You will continue to feel like you have no style. You will continue to feel like you are completely lost if you have no sense of what your personal aesthetic is. And what I want to say here, and I'm doing a whole training on this next week, so come and join me. But that literally is the very first thing to do, to get a hold on. And when you are doing that, you want to think granularly. You want to think in the minutia. You want to think teeny tiny little level, microscopic. You're going to micromanage that design style until the cows come home. This is not high level thinking. High level thinking, high level understanding of your design style leaves you with a generic understanding of what it is that you like, but it doesn't give you more than that. A generic understanding is only going to leave you feeling really confused, really frustrated, like you want to stay stuck because your decisions seem to always not work. So you need to go granular, and going granular means you need to understand what your design style is, your design aesthetic. And that key is so important, because what happens is your confidence shifts. Your decision making becomes easier. Sure, sometimes there's going to be times when you're like, oh, I like choice A, B, and C. How am I going to make sure I know which one is which? But the more you practice using the filters in place that I teach you, the easier those decisions become. The easier they become. It's when I start now hearing from my clients, okay, I still want your feedback because I want your feedback, but I think it's this answer. I think this is the choice. Yes, that is breakthrough, friend. That is breakthrough. All right, the second reason you think that you're bad at decorating is because you're making decisions without having a plan. It's true. You're making decisions because it is generally on impulse rather than on the plan that supports your overall vision. And I know that if we were, I liken this to going on vacation a lot. If we're going to go on vacation, you need to put all the wheels in motion. You don't just say, I'm going to Aruba and then show up in Aruba, right? You need to know how to get there. You need to know what you're going to pack. You need to maybe think about the activities you're going to do. You need to think about how you're going to pay for it. You need to think about who's going to take care of the animals when you leave. You need to know how many days you can afford. You need to know maybe how you can eat in a way that supports your allergies or your food sensitivities while you're there. You need to have a lot of information. So when you feel like you're bad at decorating, the question is, have you formulated a plan? And have you formulated a plan that looks as comprehensive as you would if you were going on vacation? And if you don't formulate a plan like that, well, you're going to continue thinking you're bad at decorating. But you're not. Okay, the third reason you continue thinking you are bad at decorating is because you might be comparing yourself to someone else and where they're at in their home decorating journey. Now listen, this is human nature. I mean, even I do it. And it's not necessarily a quality I love, but it's still something that happens. But when we compare our space to that of someone else's and our journey to that of someone else's, we lose focus. And we know this to be true in all other areas of life, right? I say this all the time to my kiddos who are comparing their growth and their athletic ability to someone else maybe on their team. My kids are late bloomers. It is just a fact. They take after their mom. They are late bloomers, and their athleticism generally arrives a little bit later while everyone else's body is turning into these growing muscular machines, and theirs is trying to catch up a little bit. They've got the head game. They've got the ability to know how to play and how to play well, and they can see the field and all the things, but their body hasn't caught up yet. And when that happens, there's a disconnect between what their capability is and what the response is, what their action is. And that happens in home design too. But The reality is, and the frustrating piece comes from comparing your journey to that of someone else's, even your home to that of someone else's. Removing that and understanding what your goals are as someone who's wanting to have a home you delight in, and you're just on the journey, you're just beginning that journey, that takes a little bit of courage to acknowledge that. I am surrounded by some really wonderful ladies inside of the collective who come to these monthly meetings. We have 2 each month where they get to ask their questions. And those who come regularly are the ones who are making the biggest results. There you have it. They are the ones who are making the biggest results and biggest strides that I can see on their home. But what I've noticed is that there is a removal, at least outwardly, of comparison. There is a camaraderie. You heard about it last week if you listened to the podcast. Lorraine, who is sharing, they all have different styles. Everyone's is different, but we're growing an appreciation of those differences rather than a comparison and how mine isn't quite adding up. We're being teeny tiny bit vulnerable in order to A, show up to a meeting, and B, ask your question publicly. But when that comparison is removed, no matter what you're doing, you're going to find that the goal is going to be able to be reached faster, and the goal is going to be able to be reached with a lot more joy. All right, the 4th thing that makes you feel like you are bad at decorating is looking at your bank account. It's true. Think about some of the things that you have purchased over, we'll just say the last 5 years. And you look at it and you might think, oh dear, that was a huge mistake. And that cost me $500, or that cost me $1,000. And I have a feeling some of you have not even acknowledged this publicly. Whatever, you don't have to acknowledge it publicly, but out loud. To your spouse, to your partner, to your friend, to yourself even. You just think, oh, dang it. That couch isn't quite right. That side table isn't quite right. And I spent money on that. Well, friend, here's the thing. Here's the truth. Some of those items are going to need to be replaced in the future. Maybe not now, maybe later. Maybe they're just going to wear out over time. They're going to lose their form. They're going to get holes. They're going to get stains. They're going to need to be replaced. We know that as just common upkeep in homes, right? So when you invest in that learning now, and you invest in making an effort towards confident decision making, what happens is the next time you have to go and make those purchases, you are better equipped, better informed, more confident in order to make those decisions. And when that happens, the money follows. When that happens, you don't feel like you're making a mistake because you've gone into it with the plan and the confidence to know that you're making the right choice. And you have the tools to support you in order to really approach that decision with a lot more skill than you did before, with a lot more forethought than, oh, that's on sale at Costco and I like it. Okay, you've heard this cautionary tale several times, and I'm going to say it again. And I will say it again next month, next year, next 2 years, because it is so true. When we get the inkling to make a change in our space, when we get the inkling and we just say, okay, hubby finally said yes, I can get a new couch, but there's no plan in place for that couch. There should be warning signs going off in your head. There should be triggers that are saying, slow down. There should be something that is causing you to take a minute rather than take the action. Well, I take it back. If that action is making the plan, great. That is the action you should take. But if that action is, I'm going to go to Ashley's Furniture and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get that, or I heard him say yes, so now I'm going to buy the couch that I found on sale at Costco. That is not the action. Because when that action is ill-formed or not planned out or not thought through, then it becomes immediately attached to your bank account. And if you see that action, that decision was made before a solid plan was in place, what happens is we now get bound to that really big, costly mistake. And every other decision we make thereafter is bound to that costly mistake. That oversized sofa that you wish you didn't buy, that now is running the show. That now is saying, I'm in charge over here and I'm going to try to remediate the rest of the room because that couch has to stay and everything else needs to change around it. And we don't want that for you. All right, friend, the fifth thing that is making you feel like you are bad at decorating is a lack of practice. I want you to think about that. We've given a couple analogies already. That little one who is learning how to tie their shoe, or they're learning how to bake the brownie and they think I'm bad at that, or cracking eggs, whatever skill. Well, they might be bad at it the first time. They might not be great at cracking an egg without the shell getting into the egg. If it's their first time, they might need to learn how to do that. And with practice, it's going to get better and better and better. And maybe every once in a while there'll be a shell in there, but generally not. Or the kiddo playing soccer who thinks I'm really bad at this, but they realize, oh, I need to just wait for my body to grow and my feet to catch up to the rest of my size. And you know what? What if I go and I shoot for a little bit? The practice. Every decision you make is reinforcing a behavior. Every decision. Now, we just want it to be the right behavior, right? We want it to be the confident behavior. We want it to be the insightful behavior rather than the opposite. And that starts, again, way back at the very beginning with understanding your design style. Because when you practice behavior over and over and over again, and it's behavior that is taking you further and further down the path, you're going to continue thinking that you are bad at decorating because you haven't addressed the very first thing that's most important in order to relearn that behavior in a positive way. You haven't addressed that yet. So practicing something that is broken is just going to keep it broken. But practicing something as you're learning a new skill is going to reinforce that positive behavior, that positive outcome. What is that phrase? It takes 10,000 hours of practice. And we're not going to decorate your home for 10,000 hours, though that would be fun. But you get the idea. The more you practice, the better it is. And when you have a guide to help you, you're not only practicing, you are getting the fact checking, right? You're getting the guide who's saying, well, let's think about this. I'm not so sure. Knowing your aesthetic is this, I think it could be one of these two choices. Here's why. Friend, you are not bad at decorating. You're not. You just haven't learned yet. And I would be honored to be your guide. So I'm inviting you to that 2-day workshop where I'm going to pour into you and teach you the very basic thing, the most important thing you need to know in order to start making confident decisions, in order to start feeling like those decisions are not as overwhelming as you thought they were, in order to stop wasting money and feeling like the big bully in the room is dictating every other decision you make. Friend, it would be my honor to teach you how you can not only walk away with your understanding your design aesthetic, but to walk away with a couple other filters that help grow that confidence too, that help you take one ginormous leap towards creating a space that you love being in at the end of the day, that you love welcoming your family into, that you love inviting your friends over to. It would be my joy to help unlock that for you, friend, because learning is possible. And I, my dear, am the teacher to teach you. So come on over and join me at figandfarmathome.com. You can register by going to the link at the top of the page. And if you're ready to just say, hey, you know what, Danny, I'm sold. I want to book that call. Do it. Go for it. The link is in the show notes and I would be happy to teach you. But you know what, friend? I'm still going to teach you your design style, your aesthetic, because that is important. All right, friend, until next week when I will see you in the live 2-day workshop, 3 steps to creating a home you can't stop gushing about. Take care. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.